Watching the Joe Rogan Experience. We got a guy on here, you might not have heard of him before, but this guy, his name is Dr. Ben Flelf. He was professor of academy studies, top position in the Academy of University. Came to work at school one day barefoot. He was considered to be appropriating culture of African people of Zaire with no shoes. Now, this to me is the whole avalanche coming down the pike through the cement concrete mixer, concreting the whole world. And speaking of concrete, can I ask you something? What's your name again? Dr. Voss? Dr. Voss. So what happened here? Well, I came to work barefoot, and I was accused of appropriating culture by this. Her name was Helen Gred. She was a top-ranking senior person in the academy infrastructure of the university levels. She said, put your shoes on. I said, does this have to do with George Floyd? She said, absolutely not. We have a policy here, professors wear shoes. And you stormed out. And I got to tell you, it's not every day, Dr. What's it again? Voss? It's not every day that people take a stand. You know, watch this. How hard is it to take a stand? I stand, I sit when it's time. When it's time to talk to Dr. Voss. Hold on a second. Get an email here from Jossie in Medwards, Georgia, says, I don't sound like Joe Rogan at all. Okay, I got a message for this little princess, fifth wave, scientific conicon, feminist not so, who's, okay, I am Joe Rogan. Okay, I spent 50 years of my life as Joe Rogan, and I'm going to spend the next 50 years as Elon Musk. Okay? Because unfortunately for you, Mrs. Email in with your feminist Nazi stuff, unfortunately, I have still what's called in the podcast world freedom of talk. I'm Joe Rogan. I'm Daniel Radcliffe. I'm J.K. Rowling. I'm my own hand. There. Sorry about that, Dr. Voss. That happens a lot here on the Joe Rogan Experience. By the way, I'm running for senator. And why is it important to vote now more than ever? Why is it important that we take our hands and we do this? Why do I have hair? And that's a question that comes up from Lisa Benford. Some old feminist, look at me. I'm too afraid to talk about my tits, so I have to talk about opinions. Says Joe Rogan doesn't have hair. Well, I got a news flash for you all. I use Rogaine. Yeah, because Elon Musk told me that if I want to use the 5G, remember when Elon Musk was on here, we smoked pot, and I really grilled him about the issue. I can't get the neural link unless I got the hair to receive. And this is why this is a message for all bald men out there. If you want to be part of the new Freedom Techno platform, email Joe Rogan for the Rogaine Experience. I'm Joe Rogan. That's who I am. I'm Joe Rogan. That was 3 minutes, and I wasn't going to do a video. And then I put these headphones on. I'm Joe Rogan. I don't know if I'm going to keep this. Be ashamed to waste it. Was it good? I'm just, our stage manager, Rosetta, is watching from the wings. I know that's not authentic Joe Rogan. It's the ethos of Joe. I don't want to do, because I realized the last riffing video, I like that voice. That's the app guy. I don't know anything about Joe Rogan, but I don't know, like a lot of people, I don't know a lot about a lot of things. In fact, should I keep going? I was going to open with Sammy statue removals. That was the voice. You got a statue? You bet. We could send a mob out Thursday. Yep. And for an extra 50 pounds, they'll roll it down the street and chuck it in the River Avon. Yeah. Okay, looking forward. Yep, we'll send the thugs by on Thursday. Okay. And the sad thing is, these hardworking kids. I mean, I imagine most of them are, they've struggled like we've struggled. They, had to work various jobs, factories, fast food jobs, and They took time off from, putting food on their table for their family to do the really important stuff, which is knock the statue off its plinth and roll it down the river and chuck it in the River Avon. And they did all of this. They chucked it in the River Avon, and this has got to be the biggest disappointment. They found out today that despite all that, slavery still happened. And you'd think that if anything would actually change the space-time continuum, that would be it. But no, it didn't matter how deeply it sank into the River Avon, slavery still happened. So it's time to get serious here now on the Christopher Gruford podcast. It's just a sloppy mix, isn't it now? Was that a good solid opening though, you think? I wasn't planning. As soon as I put the headphones on, I thought that's it. Why do I need the headphones? Why do I need the fancy mic? Got the fancy mic. We got everything. Fancy mic. Got the headphones. Do I have the big backdrop of and okay, when it cuts to the guest, it's that. What are we missing? Creativity. I say go ahead. Let's go ahead. Yeah, let's just do it. Okay, and we're rolling. What the hell is going on? But that's the thing I do. I want to say that too. Like, what the hell is going on? I want to say what the fuck is going on. It seems to me, and I realize that the last video I did where I was just riffing. Thank you to all the kind comments. And if I haven't mentioned this before, if I haven't responded to comments or liked them, the only comments that I read are as soon as I put out a video, I'll scan the first batch of comments just to say, okay, it's going well, and then I may the next morning revisit that. But then I never revisit comments beyond that first 24-hour period, because there's part of me that doesn't want the good to affect me, and I don't want the bad to affect me. And I saw that somebody had left a very long comment with and I don't know if he agreed with the song. I'm talking about what was it called? I'm the New Normal, which my girlfriend wrote, by the way. We co-wrote the lyrics. We did co-write the lyrics, but it was inspired by a walk along the seafront. And one of the reasons I'm with her is that she's as mad as I am, and just out of nowhere she started going, "I'm the new normal. I'm the new normal." And I think she was ready to move on from there, and I had this image in my head of it's like a David Bowie kind of thing where the starman came down to show us how to wear a mask. The starman came down to say 2 meters separate. The starman, that was the future that a Ziggy Stardust of today would represent, and so this guy left me this. It's just long, and I think he was thinking that I was going down some weird rabbit hole, and on that, and some comments you can't tell if they did they like it or did they not like it or whatever, and I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. Like I said in the thing before, I'm just watching shit as it's happening. Oh, that one doesn't work. I'm just watching shit as it unfolds. And let's take I'm going to get to the George Floyd thing, what little I know about it. I mean, I'll get to that in a bit. It just seems damn convenient. Look, you have, as much as people want to throw bricks and tear down statues, and Sadiq Khan has now, thank God I don't live in London anymore, because he wants to examine all the names, all the street names and all the statues. We have, with the economy as fucked as it is, now there's going to be new jobs now as part of this brand new normal thing that we're going to go. We need to look at all the street names, because these fucking mostly university pricks, mostly university kids going to university. Well, not going to university now. Probably got on Wikipedia the night before and figured out who that statue is, and then they're probably going to go on Wikipedia to tear down a few more statues. I was thinking about that statue in Bristol. Now the Bristol mayor has come out and said that statue was an eyesore for many, many years. And it's like, well, then why didn't you do anything about it, you motherfucker? You do it after the fact, like a pussy. You're a pussy politician. You are a pussy politician, and you're doing that. And I'm nervous to comment on the George Floyd thing, because I don't want people to make the mistake of going into the Spiked camp and the Brendan O'Neill camp, because I was on the periphery of that camp through Comedy Unleashed, and I know what kind of fucking weirdos they are. They may say snowflake, trigger, and white privilege is bullshit, but they're also going to tell you, they're also going to turn a blind eye to eugenics, if not promote it in various places. So they've got racist there as well, but they're university toff racist. They wear suits and they go to Oxford and Cambridge, and they're so cool. They talk about embryonic selection because that's the way of the future, man. Right? So don't make the mistake of thinking they're your fucking friends, because they're not. And Brendan O'Neill talks about working class. I challenge you to find any kind of fucking... First off, find out how old the fucker is, where he came from. I don't think I'm on Wikipedia. Somebody took my Wikipedia page down 2 years ago. I don't know who made it in the first place, but they took it down. But it was on there. You could find me. You know, I'm 46 years old. I'm from Sedalia, Missouri. You know, Claire Fox is Claire Foster, but she changed her name to Fox because she's this sly... she's not as cute as a fox, though. It's an insult to foxes, that fucking pig. She's a pig. She should be... I mean, I like pigs, too, compared to her. But she remember her. She's so free at the Academy of Ideas. Real quickly, I want to mention that in the last riffing video I did, I mentioned that after Comedy Unleashed, I was getting people emailing me and saying, "Hey, Will, are we still friends? I mean, I've been with these guys for years, but I love your comedy." You know, the fence straddle. Straddle the fence with me and get some splinters all over your scrotum, straddling a fence. And, you know, it's just such a stupid question. But I did have somebody pop up. You know, it's funny. I did a video where I mentioned people saying, "Hey, guy." And then I got one of those, "Hey, guys," afterwards. Okay, did you not get the point of the video? And I think they might be responsible for this, because I've been watching this guy, James Corbett, and I'm going to get to him in a bit with his wonderful Bill Gates documentary, which I encourage all of you to see. And I don't know anything about this guy. I don't know anything about. I mean, I've watched a few videos. I'm sure I would disagree, or I would disagree with him on some things, or some things I just wouldn't know. But that Bill Gates documentary is very eye-opening, and I encourage you to see all 4 parts of it. But God damn, I knew the moment I stop, I forget what I was going with. Do you have any?
You were talking about Spiked, and then you went off into...
I know there's too much there.
The last video you did.
The last... Oh, yeah. Okay, so then one of the suggestions with the YouTube algorithms came up after a Corbett thing or one of these, you know, the Bill Gates thing. And this thing came up called propaganda, and it was an Academy of Ideas. Now, the Academy of Ideas is Claire Fox. Spiked magazine is their mouthpiece, and now they're banging the drum about how wonderful Boris Johnson is because snowflakes. They're just invested. They are, you can be very clear, Spiked and the Academy of Ideas are just as much invested in division and destroying the world and reshaping it in their fucking image as Black Lives Matter is, and George Soros and all that thuggery over there. They are the 2 sides of the same coin. And what really fucks me off about this George Floyd shit, because the thing is, we don't know if race was a motive. I know people want it to be. They don't want to wait for the information to come in, but that doesn't stop them from wanting to tear down statues and throw shit and loot and whatever. It's division on either side. And I thought, here we are. We may actually, ordinary people the world over, of all colors, of all nationalities, may be finally coming together. Leaderships, I think, we're getting very fucking nervous. That's my hunch. I think the leader, whoever's leading, whether that's individual nations or the globe as a whole, we're starting to see that their weird little experiment, people were kind of cottoning on. They weren't washing their hands anymore. They were starting to say, what does Bill Gates have to do with vaccines? You know, all this shit, possibly. And then now it's back to black and white. It's back to white privilege here, you know. And I've said this before, I wish white privilege was real every time my rent is due. Just take it out of my privilege. I've said this for ages. That's my joke. But I noticed one of these Academy of Ideas things came up, propaganda. Now they want you to think that they're the free ones, you know, watch the propaganda. But their propaganda is they care about the working classes when they're the same fuckers who bring in assholes like Toby Young and say embryonic selection can help intelligence in working class communities. They're Dominic Cummings fucks. This fucking shit. We were the reporters. They weren't asking deep questions. Reporters never do. I'm talking about the mainstream. They never ask deep questions, but they were fucking expressing anger, and they were saying, "Will you sack this fucker?" You know, they weren't saying the fucker. They should have said that. But they weren't asking deeper questions. They weren't saying, "Did you know that Barnard Castle has a GlaxoSmithKline headquarters there? And why does his wife now work for the company that's going to make this fucking app? the spying, snooping, China Communist government modeled app. They weren't going that deep, but they were persisting with the questions, and it was getting kind of funny because Boris would go out there, or if he was too much of a pussy, he'd send Grant Shapps out there, one of his government lackeys, to go out there, and they kept wanting to talk about their great infrastructure projects, and the car showrooms are open now, and everybody loves a housing market, and they fucking reporters wouldn't stop talking about Dominic Cummings and who is this motherfucker, and why does he have to stay there, and why does he dress like a skateboard kid? Why does he want to stand out with his AI Elon Musk t-shirt? What is this about? And those questions are now finished. They're finished. And now it's a pissing contest between who cares the most about racism. That's where we are now. Now we're back to black-white. And Spiked is going to be over here saying stupid lefty snowflakes. And the other side is going to be over here with their white privilege bullshit. And I keep getting this cartoon image of two cartoon characters fighting it out. And all of a sudden you hear also Sprague Zarathustra. Don, don, don. And there's a big fucking thing there. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Other than it's a bit government, it's a bit science, it's a lot technology. And it's fucking there. And whether you were in Uganda getting beaten by sticks from your leaders who were using the lockdown rules to justify that bullshit, or an Indian getting sprayed down with chemicals, or a diner owner here that's being told you can't fucking open, ordinary people the world over were cottoning on to the fact that leadership might be arbitrary after all. So now we got black-white again. Black-white. Now we're back to black. That's something really easy and stupid that racists can understand, ironically. Racists can really understand things in terms of skin color. Whether you're a Black Panther, whether you're a Malcolm X racist, or whether you're a hillbilly racist, or whether you're a Toby Young racist. And I don't even know if racist is the right word with somebody like Toby Young or Dominic Cummings. Because the broader thing is, they're just, like, if Bill Gates goes to Africa and he experiments on them like guinea pigs, and he doesn't give a fuck because people aren't real to him. So I don't even know with Bill Gates if it's racism, or it's just a sense of like, I am obviously so smart because my mommy got my fucking software onto IBM. So that obviously makes me a really smart person. And the best thing that a smart person can do can fucking interfere with the natural life of people in third world countries. That's what obviously an intellectually superior person like that fucking scumbag can do. And here we are with this unity. So with him, it's like an anti-life thing. But now we've got it back to black-white. So stupid people can have this fucking discussion again. It's like the channel was on that, and then the channel went to the COVID shit. And we're all watching the COVID shit, and we're washing our hands for a couple weeks, and all of a sudden she died with, about, through coronavirus. They died in coronavirus. They did the statistics, the order that things are being opened in again. The fact that we have to wear masks now. Now here's just to take you to a UK thing. Fucking lie. The UK thing. This is the way I see it. We'll start from the beginning, if I may. Initially, Boris said herd immunity. His buddy Cummings said that he was okay if a few pensioners died. You know, it was a cost-benefit analysis. It's always a cost-benefit analysis to these people who are conservative only in terms of this free market. That's it. You might find a hint of free market in these fuckers when it's really not that free, actually. They're compromised 6 ways till Sunday. But if you had to look, what makes you conservative? Well, I believe that you should be able to buy and sell shit. Right, that's it. God, anything else, just not part of it. Human life, the preservation of nature, conserving nature, nothing, no interest whatsoever. So they start off in the beginning with a cost-benefit analysis version of Toryism. You know, well, if a few pensioners die, you know, whatever. Okay, and then, because they have no original ideas of their own, like the Spiked lot, they have no original ideas of their own. They're playing a minstrel show out for all of us. It's about this, it's about that, it's about lefty, wokey, wokey, lefty, wokey. They play that shit out. And because they have no ideas of their own, when the rest of Europe locks down, or they're told by WHO or whoever pulls Dominic Cummings' strings, whatever tech creeps is pulling his strings, I know Elon Musk raised some fuss about the lockdown or whatever, but we don't know who's in control. I'll tell you who's not in control. The people we think are in control, I would imagine. I know, tinfoil hat. Tinfoil hat. I'm not saying anything definitively. I'm just saying, do you believe the story of the COVID-19 that has been presented before you with all its inconsistencies? Do you believe this? I don't. I reject it. I don't believe there's been too many weird things. So phase 2 of this was they have no original ideas of their own, and they decide to lock down the country because they're scared, because they think that that's the trendy thing to do. Who knows? Whatever. I mean, when a person doesn't have principles or convictions, they can do all sorts of stupid things. You know, Andrew Doyle. Andrew Doyle, the great satirical wokey, you know, if you don't have any convictions, you can easily, when questioned about certain things, take down the entire catalog of the creative output of your biggest view getter. You can do that if you have no convictions anchoring you to anything. So who knows what the reason was, but they locked down. They locked down, and then Cummings got caught out, and he didn't want to sack Cummings. We don't know why. It is so important to have the overgrown skateboard kid there, lurking around. We don't even know why he couldn't just quit and work in the shadows like they do anyway. But for some reason he was so goddamn important, and those questions weren't going away. And so Boris had to play King Freedom. Okay, well, the golf courses are open, and this are open, and that. And because I'm so good, all non-essential shops besides pubs and restaurants can open from the 15th of June. Mr. Freedom, I'm going to dispense freedoms to the people. I'm Rockefeller giving the little dime to the peasant. Dispense freedoms. And but I guess they found out that social distancing doesn't work on public transport unless you want to spend a lot of money creating weird barriers on a train. So now face masks are mandatory. All of these things, before we were told that face masks, now face masks are mandatory. And now that's the first thing that's kind of come up. I made a list of 4 things. I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not taking a test. I'm not getting the fucking app, and I won't get a vaccine. Definitively won't get a vaccine. So the mask is the first thing. So that's the first thing where that becomes an issue for me if I want to travel, because I refuse to put on a mask, especially since fashion designers are designing some really quirky ones. I had somebody get upset at me online the other day, and he was saying, oh, and he was saying things, and you look at, who is this bastard? And you can tell a lot from a photo. And the photo, he's got this kind of paisley, psychedelic, silk velvet mask over his face. And I thought, oh, you're an idiot. That's what you're a stupid person who went out and bought. It wasn't good enough to get the paper mask. They said you can make things at home. Grant Shapps said, now these are not surgical masks by any means. These are simple masks that you can make at home. For example, here's an old cardi. Yes, I would like to have 5 packs of Rothman Blue, please. You can make these things at home. They're for nice little kids, but not this fucker. No. In this collapsing economy, I guess he found a few quid to get the fanciest mask at the mask ball. Fancy. I have to be fancy. I want to go down in here, because I'll tell you what, one day I'm going to be dead and in the grave unless I'm saved by 5G and part of my soul becomes computerized. I'll be dead and in the grave, and I want to go down in history as being the one with the prettiest mask. I believed the bullshit first. I was there believing the bullshit before anybody else. So don't you tell me you believed in the bullshit first. I was there believing and sucking the cock of bullshit before anybody else. I'm always worried about my neighbors thing. Do you think they hear me doing Paradise Lost? I'm recording Paradise Lost for those of you who don't know. If you'd like to support that project, please consider going to patreon.com/Will Franken. You know I'm not a real marketer because this is 24 minutes in and I'm just telling you that. Usually I should. How do the other people do it? They put all sorts of ads in there. Add 4 minutes. It was funny though. You watch some of these ads, and that's the reason the government technological complex. Ad in 4, 3, 2, 1. Grammarly can help your new software speak your language of the software, and you can have your new avatar. Click past it. And that's why, just getting back to this government 5G plan of the tower, fuck them. I would rather I don't know, this motley group of people who you guys are. This motley group of people watch this stuff. I wasn't even gonna do a video. I thought I'm not feeling it today. And then I put those headphones on. I want to do a bit for you real quick. This Jeffrey Epstein thing. This is idea about Jeffrey Epstein, which was inspired by something that you had said about they could always pass the buck on to somebody higher up. Wasn't that the premise? Yeah. So I thought Prince Andrew, right? By the way, you mentioned Michael Jackson has a statue in Chelsea. Is that right?
Check it out to be sure.
Check it out to be sure. I don't want to pull a Joe Rogan. I tell you what, Cassidy from our research department is going to get on that. And in the meantime, I'm going to do a very rough sketch because this is we don't know what the motive was in this thing. This guy was murdered, right? I'm not one of these people that, if you look at the angle, he was murdered. He might have been murdered because this fucking guy is a rage-filled asshole, or he's just some weird anger issues or something like that. But I got the impression from him, and to get personal, it reminded me of my father when he was proven wrong about something. So when the people are saying get off his neck, I think he stayed on there because he thought, I'm the cop. I think there was some weird fucking ego shit, and then I think he realizes he is killing this guy. It's weird, man. But the guy, I believe that the guy, he was killed. Yeah, he was killed. But we don't know if race was the motive, and yet we are acting. Fucking HBO is taking down Gone with the Wind. This is Little Britain. Lee Francis, who I never followed, apparently was, what was it called? Bo Selector. He pretended to be Scary Spice. She was the black one, right? Scary Spice. He pretended to be Scary Spice. He fucking does a little video. Yeah, I'm on an educational journey, and I want to apologize to anybody. So, fuck you. You've had your day in the sun. Woohoo! I got all the money. Woo! Look at me. I'm the BBC. Woo! Yeah. You've had your day in the sun. You're under lockdown, and now you feel that the world is calling out. All the Black Lives Matter protesters are out there saying, "Where is Lee Francis?" Nobody gave a fuck about you, you dumbass. You stupid cunt. Just like they didn't give a fuck about that statue. That statue. And I want to say, this is for me as a working class person from Missouri, but let's cast myself back to 18th century England. If I was in 18th century England in this current economy, from my background, I probably would have been a chimney sweeper or some sort of laborer working on the docklands. Who knows? But I would have, this guy, Colson, who that statue was, I wouldn't have been a slave, but I definitely would not have been regarded as equal, right? I wouldn't have been, oh yes, and all the white people are equal. He would have been a fucking upper class snob. And yet I would have been able to walk through Bristol, see the statue, probably know about that, and not feel like it had to come down, And it's like what you were saying this morning about I keep banging on about the idea is to, you get rid of the houses of worship, you get rid of God, or you keep the churches, but you make sure the technology is superior to the churches, so you can always worship with us digitally. That's that racket. So theoretically, government, science, and technology, and if the churches do open after the shameful fucking behavior I've seen from the Church of England, I feel tempted to just go in and interrupt the service and say, what do you think about the proliferation of technology in education, in church, in everything? How much are you just going to give us some blanket bullshit about these difficult times we live in? These difficult times. It's very stressful and difficult times for so many people, but the word of Christ is reassuring. The word of Christ is reassuring how? Exactly. You mumbling, stuttering prick. That's Joe Pesci, you mumbling, stuttering prick. Boom. Do the fucking dance there. I can never do Joe Pesci. He's too high. I was going to do a sketch for the people. Do you have an answer? Cassidy from our research department, do we have an answer?
The statue was at Fulham, and it was put there by Mohammed Al-Fayed, but it was removed.
The statue of Michael Jackson is removed?
Yeah, and then people said when Fulham got relegated, they said it was because of the statue being removed.
Because of Michael Jackson. So there was a statue. The point is there was a statue of a pedophile.
Yeah, and it went back to Al-Fayed. They gave it back to him.
We'd like to unveil the statue of one of the greatest pedophiles known to man. The king of pedophile.
Yeah, it's a great picture. especially with the one with our head in front. Wait.
Well, thank you, Cassidy, to our research department.
You have to see the picture.
Your name's not really Cassidy, is it? It is. Do you want to give us a funnier name?
Stephen.
Stephen, and your surname?
Balls.
Stephen Balls. Are you related to Ed Balls? I hope not. At the political channel, I just spit on the screen. Speedy right now, aren't I? I encourage everybody to watch this. I've never watched links. People send me links, I just don't watch them. And as I've said, with the subject of Bill Gates, I think like a lot of us, there's a nonchalance, I think, that I just don't have. People are very nonchalant about things. And when this government came out and said, real early days, very, very early days, they were talking about there's a contact tracing app which will be made available, and people are very nonchalant. Usually very kind of middle to upper class people are very nonchalant about these things. Like, oh, well, probably download that. Probably download that app. My privacy is a concern, but really, what does it matter when you've got tons of jewels? Jewels all over the house, and a suit of armor in the hallway and a bearskin. What does it matter? Who cares? But working class people like me are going, what are you gonna fucking do to me? What are you gonna do to me? See, this is the thing. There's this George Floyd thing, man. What is this? Fulham, get rid of Michael.
But look at the picture.
All right, let's show that up there to the people. This is the Michael Jackson, and we don't know what his connection to Fulham was. Michael Jackson's.
I think there was one.
We're talking about statues, man. I'm long opposed to tearing down statues because it's you have history in a world that utterly despises history. I'm talking about with the leaderships of the world fucking hate history. And I was saying this with God being gotten rid of, theoretically at least. You were saying this with the past. So these are retreats for people who don't fucking like what they're being presented, right? We got a new app, and we've got Ed Sheeran, and we've got, what else is that? IKEA. What's something people do, like normal people?
All you can eat app. The takeaway one. That's quite popular.
Now, is that a real thing?
All you can eat, it's called, isn't it?
No, I mean stuff like the big thing, like the 5G. Isn't that nice? We can wear goggles.
Oh, that's stuff.
We're educating Jimmy because Jimmy's wearing goggles. Jimmy doesn't have to go to school. He goes to virtual school now. Jimmy's brain is half downloaded. Right? For ordinary people in the world, we were saying, whoa. And then all of a sudden, black and white. Get it back to black and white because that's fucking lateral. Right? Spiked and Brendan O'Neill, you get in that corner, you say lefty woke snowflakes, and you get over there and you say Black Lives Matter, blah, blah, blah. And it's got to be lateral. Don't make it vertical. We cannot have any vertical. We don't want you to look up. And, working class people, we see things like, the first thing working class person thinks is, do you want me to get a new phone? Do I have to go, it's when the essential shop's open, do you want me to go right down to get a brand new phone? And then you want me to download an app. And I still don't understand how this works. So my neighbor, if he's pissed off at me, or if I'm pissed off at my neighbor, you can't park there. Oh yeah? Always wish somebody had symptoms should die. Hello. Hi. Stay home. Your friend? Yeah, tell him my name's Robert. Your friend? I don't have a friend named Robert. I don't care. Robert said you were. This has to do with the parking space, doesn't it? Nothing to do with parking space. I don't know. I'm just a government person. I'm a hollow vessel. I'm just a hollow government techno-scientist receptacle for all of the filthy semen pumped into me by assholes like, theoretical semen. It's a bad metaphor. I'm trying to do the Reservoir Dogs joke. You had that fucking semen pumped up your ass. It's coming out your mouth. Remember that? That was the only film I thought Tarantino was. I liked Reservoir Dogs, but we weren't going to talk about that. There's too many topics, you think? Do people talk like this? I don't know. I'm not talking at all. Let's do that sketch. And it's a loose sketch. And if you want to support this kind of great groundbreaking insanity, go to patreon.com/Will Franken. And to help support the Paradise Lost project, I'm doing the sound effects for book 6 now. The reason it's taken so long is because it is a big auditory production. I'm not just doing, hi, I'm the rotted trained actor. Okay, all right.
Yeah, just give me a sign. Descend from heaven, Urania, by that name, if rightly thou art called, whose voice divine, following above the Olympian hill I soar, above the flight. No, I'm going to look at Milton's line. What does Milton want to convey to the ears? What does he want us to see? What does this blind man want us to see, right? What are the deeper spiritual truths he wants us to hear and embrace? What sort of thoughts, for example, about leadership, right? I mean, he has some harsh critiques of the very notion of leadership. You know, this was a man who believed your own individual connection to the Word of God, however broadly you want to define that, is sacrosanct and cannot be tampered with. And when you start to say, wear a mask, because we made this, it's old Gary, I've told you about old Gary, it's not an accurate Gary voice, but it's a bit, it's a bit ethos of Gary, isn't it? I like Gary. I mean, I'll tell you one thing, I've noticed with my neighbours, the ones who don't fuck me off on a given day, I like, but if they fuck me off, I like the other one better, isn't it? I mean, we got old Chatty down there. I'll come out the door today. Old Chatty was there. I thought, fuck it, thank God I've got a co-op. If I was going to Tesco, old Chatty, I'll be chatting there forever. She checked me, oh, fucking sausages on the hob. Just, let's do the sketch. So this was the idea that Prince Andrew can always, I guess, the passing the buck. So I thought about, you get a New York cop. I know all the black lives, they hate cops because every cop is the same. In fact, there's just one big cop, the whole war. I think America has about 7 police officers. That's a pretty big number. I think it's pretty huge. There's about 7 or maybe 8. I don't know. But there's not a wide range. And America itself, as you watch from the very caring Sky BBC News, with its lovely statistics, there have now been more people that have been killed with, about, or by, or through the coronavirus than there have in the Vietnam War, or with the Vietnam War, or through the Vietnam War. We're the snobs that like to look down on those savages in America, just like they do with racism. Of course, this is a part of America's deadly, horrible, nasty history. This country, I said in a private video to the patrons, it also has a racist history and a very classist present. And I think the whole world we're living, this is real unity, which is what they don't want us to have. Real unity is saying, looking at, wow, there is a classist leadership to this world, and it's not just money, it's this weird sort of snobbery. Toby Young, now tell me this was true, Jeffrey Epstein's contact book, his name was in there, or am I, because I'm putting it out to the people, his name was in that fucking thing. How hard is it to not have your name in Jeffrey Epstein's contact book? I imagine most ordinary people could find a way not to have their name in Jeffrey Epstein's contact book.
Kate Bush isn't in it.
Kate Bush is not in it. Exactly. Very good. That's Ed McMahon. I did not know that. Johnny Carson. I did not know that. I've been watching. Some of the things I've been watching that are just fun, because I work 7 to 8 hour shifts every day on Milton, either recording, producing, or even directing you in the character of Eve and Sin. So that's why I don't produce as much online content as I do. People feel that they have to produce, whether they're inspired or not. So sometimes, like Andy Shaw, I keep going back to this. This safe space bullshit with kissing, it wasn't even a paying gig. They fucking apologized to him. You're acting like the Black Lives Matter people. That's not enough statues. Tear those down too and throw a rocket. You're acting Andy fucking Shaw of Comedy Unleashed and Andrew Doyle, your partner in this failed enterprise. You're acting just like Black Lives Matter. Manufacture some shit. What does it matter? What does the truth matter? And he told me one day as if this was going to help and shut me up. I know what it's like. My whole life I know people in Missouri, they used to say, don't worry, he's not had his medication yet. Oh, they're always doing that with me, They let him out of the hospital too early. Oh, I have to make a joke because he made $74,000, so I have to do mine. And I know it must be hard for people because it's not always easy. I've settled down a lot. I'm only hyperactive now. Well, because of the world as well. You wake up this morning and you read, HBO has apologized for Gone with the Wind. I want to remind everybody that Scarlett O'Hara is a cunt in that film. There's nothing flattering about her. And anybody wants to, I would love to be, what a shallow bitch. really not a good role model. So I think it was implied very heavily in the film. The only thing it could be critiqued for, I never thought it was that good a movie. It's that very sweeping. It's just a kind of the sweeping. It's very sweeping in cinema and sweeping. And Hattie McDaniel actually became the first black actress to win the Academy Award. So Andy Shaw, when he said, "Will, I built up that story to get people in for the club, as if I was going to go, oh, okay." I said, "You just made it worse. So you fucking fan the flames because you need to constantly create content. You don't get inspired. You don't believe in the divine light of God or the Holy Spirit or the ghost of William Blake or fucking nature to infuse your heart with the need to create something. You're just some marketing cunt. Just like Black Lives Matter are marketing cunts, invested in division and grievance that never ends. For within him hell he brings, saith Milton about Satan. For within him hell he brings, and all around him back he recoils from himself. Which way should I fly? Which way should I fly? Which way I fly is hell. Myself am hell." All your bullshit, all your sense of emptiness, like those 5G creators, those little adverts you see about it'll make the world with creative thoughts, with access to thoughts, and even more creative. And you need that, you fucking horrible, cretinous person that in a saner time would be sent to prison for some of the things you're implying about human nature and freedom. You need that because you don't have anything creative about you. You've probably grown up your whole life jealous, moneyed and jealous, by the way. It's not just, money's fine, but you're moneyed and jealous. And that's a dangerous combination when you throw technology in it. Create content. You want to say something?
You wanted to talk about William Blake on the t-shirt.
Thank you very much. William Blake on the t-shirt. So this Academy of Ideas link, and I don't know if the two are connected, but before I knew who these creeps were, 3 or 4 years ago, I sent Claire Fox an email because I wanted to run a panel. I said I would like to do a panel on William Blake as a patriotic Christian. Never heard back from her, and that's I just assumed it just got lost in the mix of all the important. But this fucking bitch takes money from Pfizer, and she dares to fucking lament millennial snowflakes who dope those kids up and say this abnormal behavior and dopes. You fucking hypocrite. Just the soulless stupidity of these and how dumb people are. Sky News has them on. Let's get Claire Fox's opinion. Because of a little. And speaking of that, Sky News is out there going, here's another statue. This guy was a slave trade. Almost giving them instructions. If they come here, they might find a statue of this man. So let's. We don't know what to think about Charles Dickens. I mean, he was very anti-slavery, but he did write some things. And there's not a Mark Twain statue here yet, but perhaps we could get a Mark Twain statue built so they can tear it down. Mark Twain wrote the back. You know what's great about Huckleberry Finn? Huckleberry Finn, that was required reading in Missouri because it was a Missouri work of literature. Huckleberry Finn. And he was a poor kid. He was a poor kid that got in trouble, and I identified an awful lot with Huckleberry Finn. And his friend was Nigger Jim. That was the name of the character. And because stupid people who got into positions of power in education, stupid. They don't understand satire. They're dumb. They're stupid. Like Andrew Doyle. I always remember Andrew Doyle texted me one night. Will, I have to write a piece about satire for The Spectator. What was that satirist you were saying again that used to shame people until they hung themselves? I never answered him. So I'm not doing your fucking homework for you because you're in over your head. And it proves that an Oxford degree does nothing. Money does fucking nothing. If you're stupid and immoral, you're stupid and immoral. Do your fucking research. What do you ask me for the answers? Give me the answers, Will. I grew up, kids were always wanting answers from me. Give me the answers. Sometimes for money. You know what I'm saying? Get a nice little racket there going. You know what I'm saying? With the money. So the Blake t-shirt. Again, you look at the bottom of this, the Academy of Ideas, right? Buy our merchandise. It says at the bottom of that, buy our merchandise. A t-shirt with William Blake's painting, The Ancient of Days, with Urizen, who, by the way, in most of Blake's prophecies, is considered a bad guy. He's the one that divides the world up. He's the character now that would be doing apps and 5G. That's the fucker. That's the fucker. And they got him on the T-shirt. So basically, they took William Blake, a Christian, right? Not a church-going man, a man who had a lot of complaints about the church structure, as I fucking do now, the way they've surrendered to this fucking government science. They take this painting from this man, which they could never create themselves, and they fucking it's like an iron-on. They iron it on to a gray shirt, and they charge you 23 fucking pounds because they're shit. So don't make the mistake of going, I'm suspicious about the timing of the George Floyd riots right now, and nobody's asking questions about Cummings or is 5G harmful for you or not, because it's all black, white now. Don't run into their fucking arms. They are fucking God horrible people, as I've said many times on here. Probably enough. But they opened my eyes to a lot of shit. Like a lot of us, we were just sick of political correctness, and so we get together with people who express similar feelings about political correctness, and then you think, oh my God, this is what you think of humanity. And how dare Spiked says that's their catchphrase, isn't it? Humanity's overrated or underrated. They say underrated. What they mean is overrated. What they mean is overrated because they think Brendan O'Neill thinks so much of fucking humanity. He doesn't think you should rat on your neighbor if you hear his daughter screaming when her clitoris is chopped off. That's what a freedom-loving motherfucker he is. Oh God, I don't want us to go. I got to tell you, it makes me sad because I think I get my hopes up. I get optimistic. I get optimistic. I go, I've said this before. This could be a really beautiful time. And I'm not talking about storming the Winter Palace. I'm not a communist. I don't believe in mob rule. I'm talking about I think people were starting to realize how arbitrary leadership looks. You're juggling the statistics every day. This fucking Neil Ferguson, he was the first one to get caught out, breaking the lockdown. Now Sky's got him on a panel called After the Pandemic. He's a regular speaker on there. Because we just forget. We forget now because black-white. I'm sorry, was the world getting too interesting for you? How about black-white? Back to that now. We'll pit black against white, male against female, straight against gay, and we'll get you all fucking confused down here while we fuck your heads up and your kids. We'll start with your kids. We're going to open the schools? No, we can't. Open the schools, shut the schools. Shut the schools, open the schools. And it doesn't matter anyway, because once your kid gets in there, we know of somebody that, what's school been like? Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. Being shouted at to say separate, wash. Bad enough they had the fucking iPads in there. Computers in the classroom. This is fucking abuse. This is industrial level abuse of children's minds, let alone adult minds. It's industrial level abuse, and we have just shut up about it. Because it's all about old statues and getting Gone with the Wind down. And it was Tom and Jerry. Fuck that. I'm watching Tom and Jerry and Gone with the Wind. I'm not gonna watch Gone with the Wind. I hated that movie. Sweeping. And how can I connect? How can I connect to Scarlett O'Hara? This is what they don't understand. If I lived in my current economic situation where I'm from, I would not have been a slave owner. There's a thing called the working class that is colorblind. It's fucking colorblind, motherfuckers. And so even if I can't identify with Scarlett O'Hara because I wouldn't have been raised in the plantation. I wouldn't have had the silk fans. I wouldn't have been a woman, for one. But I wouldn't have been Rhett Butler either. I wouldn't have been any of these fuckers. I would have been, maybe the guy, the sharecroppers, whatever. Who knows, Breaks my fucking heart. I tell you, one sound effect that I'm doing, just to give you a hint, and don't tell the people who don't have ideas, but I got sounds of a black church service yesterday, not the George Floyd one, but the old, like the 1930s. I found some clips on YouTube, and because I had this idea. I have a African angel, Abdiel, and it's one of the most touching stories in Paradise Lost I've always found. It's the story of the individual versus the community, because in book 5, Satan does his big, I have an important meeting. Satan does this in heaven. This is how the war in heaven starts. Satan says, I have an important meeting in heaven. Everybody goes, whisper. And it's really his jealousy. Satan is jealous, right? He's not a man with some great ideas. He's a fucking mimic, Satan. And he calls this meeting in the night, and Abdiel stands up and says, argument blasphemous, and thunder. And I love the way Milton describes it. He says, God, I used to, I have to, no, my glasses, I don't have my glasses. But I got to do the Jeffrey Epstein sketch. I'll paraphrase. Basically, they shun him, and I got the sound effects of a jeering prison crowd, and yeah, as he walks away. And then book 6 begins with Abdiel coming back to the good side. Abdiel didn't know what was going on. He got caught up in this shit. That's why I identified with him. Here I was performing for Comedy Unleashed going, wait a second, eugenics went out in the 40s. What is this shit? What is free? I've said this a million times. I'm sure you guys are probably getting sick of hearing this. But what is free, Claire Fox? What is free in your sick Myra Hindley mentality? What is free for the child in your notion that there shouldn't be a government ban on child pornography? Where's the freedom for the child? You don't know what a child is because you're a heartless cunt. And because you're just as stupid as the motherfuckers with their apps, because social media has made everybody the same age. We don't know, like the Scottish guy with his texting the little teenage boy, the LOL, heart face emoji. We're all the same age. Because you're a techno creep. You are part of the problem. What was I talking about before? I got the William Blake shirt covered, right?
The gospel.
The gospel. So Abdiel comes back at them. It's a continuation, which is one of the many things about the structure of Paradise Lost that makes it so brilliant. Abdiel returns. He walks all night long. The dreadless angel unpursued made his way till morn. Unbarred the rosy. Sorry, I'm really paraphrasing badly here. Comes back. Gladly he mixed among those friendly powers. So I got the sound of his. It was hard to find angels. Welcome back, buddy. God takes him up on the throne, and he rewards him for his individuality. You understand that he doesn't reward him because he wore the face mask and he obeyed he didn't question 5G and he did what the BBC said and said don't question. God rewarded him for his individuality. Just want to get it up here. I didn't write it. Milton did. I'm not crazy. Milton is. Blame it on Milton. Milton should have been the one on Pfizer drugs. Yeah, Pfizer. Yeah, put your kids on Pfizer. See if they produce something like this. Yeah, see what that will do for the human race a couple hundred years now. Claire Fox. So God says, servant. I always love when Milton gives us a line that we use to this day. Servant of God, well done. It's very simple. It's a very easy line to say. Well hast thou fought the better fight. Oh, is that my buzzer? Or is that the construction? Is that Boris Johnson's luxury flats across the street? He is a Tory after all. Tories build things. They don't believe in things, but they build them. Well hast thou fought the better fight, who single hast maintained against revolted multitudes the cause of truth, in word mightier than they in arms, and for the testimony of truth hast borne universal reproach, far worse to bear than violence. I just love that story. So now the war is kicking off in heaven, and I'm always thinking about what sound effect, when I go through the layering, what sound effects would be appropriate here. And Abdiel confronts Satan, but now the tables are turned, and he approaches Satan. He says, "Now learn how few sometimes may know where thousands err." Basically reminding him, yes, last night I got jeered at because I stood up for righteousness. And this is my sect thou seest, he says. And I was initially looking to give him some applause, and I was looking for applause sound effects. And I thought, you know what I would like to hear right now? I would like to hear that beautiful sound of the old time religion. Hello. And they were tough sound effects to find because I wanted that particular crackle to it. And I was getting misty-eyed doing that. And I called my Uncle Roger last night, and I just said, Roger, did all that stuff really happen? Was there a time where, Remind me. There was a time where we went to the Soda Jerk Fountain in Stover, Missouri, and not everybody had a stupid screen in front of their face. These were real times, weren't they? And by the way, aside from the technology, there wasn't racial unrest like there is today. In the year 2020, there's more racial unrest than I saw growing up in the 80s in Missouri. Things were stirred up. And that's how, and I don't want to, I've my whole theory about the fork in the road. Martin Luther King had it right. Malcolm X had it wrong. And I know in the end he found the good Islam. But the shadow groups that popped up from that, because Malcolm X is perpetuated on never resolving a resentment. The resentment is never over. So it's never enough. Now we have to throw the and I know Black Lives Matters are ostensibly different because, apparently anybody can join their thing. But, Malcolm X, I mean, in Malcolm X's initial movement, I would not be welcome in that movement as I would Martin Luther King's. Martin Luther King would have welcomed me and said, you can sit down on the counter and you can have ketchup and sugar poured all over your head, mocked at by proper rednecks, and you can put yourself there in the front lines. Not in 2020. In 2020, you go out there with a mob, and I guess the police just stood down, because I don't know how easy it is just to take ropes around a statue and roll it down, and then chuck it in a river. I would imagine there had to be some people just to stand by. I have to conclude with the Jeffrey Epstein sketch. Was I on a topic and did I abort a topic? You're not listening anymore. You're looking up more. I encourage everybody to watch James Corbett's, and I said I know very little about the guy, but it was to me, Bill Gates was always a guy who was just, hi, can I help? In other words, can I steal? Can I replicate something? And I wouldn't say harmless, but you always kind of thought he's always going to be there. And it's more like I'm just not interested in in what Bill Gates is, because he's a very boring computer weirdo. But once he popped up in the whole COVID-19 thing, when somebody sent me a link and said, I've been watching your videos, and I never, but it happened to be a subject I was interested in. I'd like to thank David for calling that to my attention. And I think James Corbett, I like what, aside from the documentary, which is, he only used, to my recollection, one emotive word, which is drab, which is like, how does this drab guy, Bill Gates, but he kept the emotion out, which I obviously can't do. Got anger issues. I should talk to Claire Fox and see what Pfizer can do for me. Hope it doesn't make me too woke, because then Brendan O'Neill will come slappy at me. And I'll say, what happened to Will? He got all woke. So I did the right thing. I did what you told me to do, Brendan. I went to the Academy of Ideas. I talked to Claire Fox. She said she took money from Pfizer. Well, I remember she grinned and she kind of stroked her goatee and her Fu Manchu, like the mustache. And she said, but at the free market, there's no such thing as clean money. And I was really swayed by that argument. And I thought, well, if it's good enough for her, it's good enough for me. So I got on some Pfizer medications to regulate my anger. Well, Brendan, what happened? I mean, in the process, I got really woke. So it seems like a vicious circle. Well, not really vicious, because all my emotions are gone because I'm on Pfizer medication, but sort of a flaccid circle. I did what you told me to, Brendan O'Neill. I did. I dissented. I did all that dissenting. I tore down the statue. Well, that wasn't the right kind of dissenting. Well, who did you want me to dissent? I was on my way to dissent against Bill Gates, Brendan O'Neill. Oh, you wanted me to dissent against Jeremy. But Jeremy Corbyn isn't in opposition anymore. He's not the opposition leader anymore. You want me to go fight those shadows of Jeremy Corbyn so you can keep printing your articles? And the woke snow, blah, 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 blah. One day we'll go on Joe Rogan's program, and that will be the accumulation of our success. Hi, Joe Rogan. What an honor. Is he? Oh, my God, I can't believe it. Do you want me to do any comedy or show you what? Oh, you're not interested in that. But I thought this was going to be like an old school talk show like David Letterman. I come out and do some comedy, and then we talk about where I get the inspiration from my comedy. Oh, we're not going to... this is different. Okay, so still exciting, Joe Rogan. Okay, so all right. So my characters first What do I think about white privilege? Like Joe Rogan, I am a big fan of yours, and I know one day you'll be president of Elon Musk-a-con one day. I guess it was good I did a video. Well, it's pretty good. They're not going to fuck with my mind. I'll be a crazy raving lunatic to the day I die, but they're not going to fuck with my mind. Watch The Prisoner. And watch this James Corbett thing. Another aspect, real quick with my love. Another aspect of the James Corbett thing, as I watch this guy, I don't know what his budget is, but I see. The reason I'm not releasing Paradise Lost book by book is because I know there's techno weirdos out there. They're going to go, have you tried a Fostex 12.4 XCOM mic with a system boom? And I say, no, I'm doing it my way. I'm doing it my way, and I'm not going to invest in a bunch of stupid equipment because you can't buy your way to talent. So, but those people do get in my head, and then you listen to stuff that you know sounds really good, you've known for months, and all of a sudden you go, Fostex X12, maybe there is a... Can't have them in my head. Can't have them in my head. Those people stop the truth. Kissin's got a much better studio than I do. He's got a black box, and he gets... Douglas Murray's going to talk about the same old shit. Your new book, The Same Old Shit, really kind of, I would say, reopens our eyes to some of the stuff that a lot of people's eyes were going backwards and looking at whatever the back of the eye is. But now with this book, The Same Old Shit, it's reopening those eyelids to these, same thing's happening on the other side. But it's up, down. It's not left, right. It's up, down. Up, down, up, down. Yes, my love.
I was going to say that interview with Patrick McGowan, it's almost as interesting as The Prisoner, I think.
Yes, if you've seen, first off, I encourage, they are on YouTube.
Yeah.
Every episode of the cult classic, The Prisoner, is more relevant today than it ever was. Not to mention just a very wild, trippy ride. If you haven't seen it, I'm assuming most of you have, but please revisit it. That's one of the first things we did in lockdown. I felt really compelled to watch The Prisoner, not because I felt like a prisoner, but I felt that we started to cotton on to things were not all as it seemed. And initially, I'm going to be very clear, and I love the email. I'm going to get some emails from people that were very appreciative of the fact that I have admitted I was wrong about things. And that when I said Boris Johnson was funny about 6 months before the election, I didn't know what that funniness was going to cost us in terms of incompetence and lies, and it is absolutely unforgivable what this Dominic Cummings, absolutely unforgivable. And then you must look into what this man has said about I cannot understand, and I still can't fathom that, because in America, from as I remember it growing up, it was the reverse. You lied about being working class. It was, I built this company up from my own bootstraps, even if you didn't. That was the rhetoric veered towards that, and it wasn't really until Obama said things like, "Oh, they cling bitterly to their guns, religion, and what was it? I forget the third one." And then Hillary's basket of deplorable thing. It wasn't really till then, and those are the globalist techo weirdos, because they don't actually know what humans are. They don't get it, And I understand if you spend all day with 5G educators, you probably don't know what it's like to scramble an egg, or have a good old cup of Bovril. You don't like Bovril, but you were going to say something else. You sure? And what was the thing that you said?
I said Patrick McGowan interview.
And
I can't remember the name of the interview though. Do you know?
I forget I think it was from PBS from the 70s. But if Patrick McGowan as a person, the actor who plays number 6 in The Prisoner, really believed this shit, and that's a very rare thing to see. Usually you talk to an actor or creator. I just had the idea, like Fleabag. I had the idea for Fleabag because I'm a spoiled university toff who money shoots out her arse, and I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I did some jokes about how I was embarrassed about buying tampons in front of a boy I liked. That's where I got the idea, And it was a happy meeting of minds, because the BBC was at its stupidest when I came along, and I happened to know all the girls there anyway, and Fleabag. And we saw there was a poster that said there's another Fleabag looking thing, and the poster title that said what is it? Shameless meets Fleabag, and what they mean is it's Fleabag set in the North. That's what they want to say, but they don't. That wouldn't look as good. You have to take two things. It's Shameless meets Fleabag. In other words, it's Fleabag in the North with poorer people. because we all love a good laugh at the poor people, like Benefit Street. Let's go watch Benefit Street. Also funny. Did you see the people on Benefit Street? Couldn't feed their children. I know, it's hysterical. I love it. Oh, I love the part where they're just like, oh, I've never been to Oxford. I love it. They sit around in their nappies. They wet themselves because they didn't go to Cambridge. But it's different in this country. In this country, there are really... Toby Young, Toby Young, why would you say anything about pay me £25 for my freedom group he's got started? Give me £25. Oh, and by the way, I hate the working classes. That's you fucking. How stupid are people? Well, we're stupid. We are. I hate to admit that because I believe in God. I believe it. I know. We're just not. I don't believe in the man on the throne with the beard, the comic book version that the atheists create. That bearded man that they make up so they could say that doesn't exist, because I don't believe in that either. Whatever big broad brush, they don't have it. They don't have that big broad brush of creativity, excellence, inspiration, whatever. So they just kind of make freedom kind of a game. But they fucking hate that embryonic selection should be made available on the NHS, so working class families can have access to selecting the embryo that will produce the Ubermensch. Or we can connect, or the Neuralink thing that somebody sent me a link to. I sent you a link to the Neuralink. All right, we're going to have to wrap up soon. I promised you guys a sketch. I never did the sketch. Was it good, this? You think it was very high energy, very high octane? Some of the things, so Patrick McGowan interview, because that's very rare to see somebody who, every now and then, I guess, in television history, they've allowed one to get through, slips through the cracks. Monty Python was one, young ones. There's quite a few examples. And in fact, I will say the reason I'm here as well, because there were more examples, in my opinion, of stuff slipping through the cracks here, back than when we were in the States, And Patrick McGowan has a wonderful interview, and you see him as a person, and you see the sort of passions and feelings, sort of the Neil Postman attitude towards creeping technology that compelled him to want to write something like The Prisoner. Not to mention he was getting sick of doing Danger Man, playing that role, and he gave us The Prisoner. And was there anything else included on James Corbett? Went a little about. It'd be nice to do an interview with that guy one day. I didn't conclude this thought that when I watched him, I had a feeling like I have when I'm doing my Paradise Lost thing, that there is some passion there, and I feel like with him, with that documentary, I felt like this is something that I don't know why, but because I don't know the guy, but I see this was something of passion that he made and gave to the world, and there's no adverts on it, which is interesting, because he's got the views to monetize it. I don't think I've never monetized anything. I tell people to go to patreon.com/Will Franken if they want to support the Paradise Lost project, because I think paradise is being lost. Was the world perfect? No, but they want to get rid of the past. People like me who take refuge. I take an actual refuge in the past, because I'm presented with a world of 5G will shape the future. 5G will be the new. And even Trump did it. I'm keeping a very open mind these days after this whole weird COVID shit. Trump, we are going to be the biggest 5G people in the world. And, and very early on, I said, this is not about Huawei. It's about 5G in general. And you only need it. It's like Neil Postman says, you only need it because the other guy needs it. The other guy wants it, and then you think that so it's going to be a pissing contest about who has the 5G-iest thing. There was a video I saw last night of school children, I think in Dublin, that were singing "We Don't Need No Radiation." Did you see this? In protest of a 5G tower from Vodafone? Hey, Vodafone, leave us kids alone. God bless the Irish. God bless everyone. God bless everyone who is an ordinary person who doesn't go, sorry, Cassandra, I have to download the app. Anyway, do you want to go to whatever? So let's do the Jeffrey Epstein sketch. And then I've got to get some chicken Kievs. The idea was, you're going to, I like the idea of the New Yorker. I don't give a fuck if you're the Prince of fucking England. Oh, you are the Prince of England. Oh, okay. Well, I still don't give a fuck. Anyway, sit down. Jeffrey Epstein, what do you know about him? Right? I'm looking at you, so I should do. I've done a life sentence. I'm working through this. It's not a professional quality. I should stand up more. Look at my slender body. Oh my God! Yeah, Richard Simmons. I'm sure some of the American viewers probably know Richard Simmons. I was talking about things that I was watching that aren't, because 8 to 9 hours a day are spent on, a 17th century poem. And then usually afterwards we'll watch like a James Corbett thing now, or it's like, what the fuck is happening with the world? And so sometimes, when I'm on my own, it's just like, what do I watch? Like if I just had something that pre-existed COVID, and I've been watching lots of David Letterman clips, because that was talent, right? That was like, he was fucking good. That was actual talent. He had weird guests and pet tricks and viewer man. There was like real proper humor. That's why I say with Joe Rogan. Spotify's not going to have any creative control over me. And people kicked off. Mostly guys kicked off. Hey, man, Joe Rogan's got the most views in the world. Okay. And Bill Gates has the most money in the world. So does that make him Mr. Creativity? Bill Gates, I'm Mr. Creativity. I've got 1 million, 2 million, 5 billion, 6 billion. All the creativity in the world. So same fucking mentality. He's got the most views in the world. I'll take it from my creativity pile. There. Suck on that creativity. What was I talking about? Oh, that's what I've been watching David Letterman, and then one interview came up, Richard Simmons. We always found him funny as a kid. Richard Simmons, very short. And he's so funny, and I can't really do it because he's just happy. Richard Simmons, the fitness guy, and he had deal-a-meal cards. And you take that from your fruit card, and you put that in your... And David Letterman had an interview with him, and it was so funny because he didn't take him seriously. He was just like making fun of his outfit and stuff. He didn't want to talk about the deal and meal plan. And so the other day, we should watch some later. But that's the kind of stuff I watch just to unwind. Richard Simmons from the 80s. And I was looking and said, that looks like Andrew Doyle. And so just out of nowhere, I put that up on Facebook. I said, Andrew Doyle was a lot funnier when he was in the States. Andrew Doyle, he wears... just the outfits alone, he wears these little overalls with hearts on them, and they're called Day by Day. Richard Simmons. I got a letter here from Barbara in Colorado Springs. I'm going to call her now. He did. Apparently he would call people and say, Barbara, hi, it's Richard Simmons. Listen, Barbara, what you do is for you. Is your husband supportive? And the woman said, well, sometimes he is, but sometimes he waits till I go to bed to have a big bucket of ice cream. Oh, I bet he does. Well, now, Barbara, you're having your 50th... I find it so funny. So funny. Richard Simmons. That's the kind of stuff I'm doing. But let us close with the Jeffrey Epstein sketch. Okay. So the first character in is Prince Andrew. All right, okay, well, what's your name? Prince Andrew? You better fucking talk. This is fucking Jeffrey Epstein. What's your son, right? So he goes, I really like to help you. You probably the best way that I could help you is to give you names of people who would know a bit more than I would. Do you have a pen? Okay. Yeah. So somebody would know, because I'm helping you by giving you a name of somebody that probably know more. You have a pen? Yeah. His name is Bill Clinton. All right. We'll check this out. If this checks out, you're in the clear. Hey, Donnie, what do we got a guy on there? What do we got a guy named Bill Clinton? Check it out, Sarge. Oh, you're gonna love this, Sarge. This Bill Clinton guy. Turns out he used to be a president. All right, get him in. That's Bill Clinton. Come in. Hi, I'm Bill Clinton. Hi, I'm Bill Clinton. Hello, I'm Bill Clinton. Hi, I'm Bill Clinton. Hi, I'm Bill Foundation. I'm Bill Clinton of the Gowan Foundation. I'm Clinton of the Bill Foundation. I have a foundation named Bill. Hi, I'm Bill Clinton. All right, sit down and shut the fuck up. Hey, you know what we call you in here? Your little buddy Prince Andrew says you might know something about this. Look at me, I'm fucking talking to you. What do you know about this fucking Epstein thing, you motherfucker? What do you know? Well, as the head of the Bill and Clinton Melinda Gates Bill Clinton Foundation, I'm always prepared to help people, whether that be Haiti people or whether that be Bill Clinton people.
And I think the best way I can help you people now is by giving you a name of somebody who would know probably a little bit more than me.
All right, that's good. Donnie, give me a pen. Here's your pen, Sarge.
All right, write this down. The name is Bill Gates.
All right, we check this out. This checks out. You're in the clear. I'm having the fucking foundation here, you motherfucker. Cause I'm gonna come back and bring you high, you motherfucker. Where's your head? Your head's over there. But it's imaginary. This fucking that slippery fucker. No wonder we can never nab these pricks. All right, Daddy. What do we got on the Bill Gates? I'm checking it out, Sarge. I'm checking it out. Oh, you're gonna love this, Sarge. Apparently Bill Gates is responsible for that fucking computer we got. He's one of those weirdos. All right, call him in. And I've learned something about my Bill Gates is there's kind of a Kermit the Frog to Bill Gates' voice. And you said the other day, like his voice is always breaking, like he never really went through puberty. So I'm gonna keep working with Bill Gates, and I'm gonna work with you guys, the police department, and I really wanted to come in and help you guys. And I'm Bill Gates. Bill Gates sits down for his interrogation. I forgot how this ended.
It just goes on and on.
No, there was an ending to this, I think. Did I write it? No, there might not be an ending to this. Just like there's not an ending to life. Gotta quit smoking. Bill Gates. Hi, I'm Bill Gates. I love helping the police. I don't want to help the police too much, though, because if you look at the graph of police population, specifically the African police, you see this number climb. It climbs. And that's why we like to introduce police birth spacing as part of the Bill and Clinton Melinda Gates Flinging Foundation connected to the Gavi Research Center. He just turned into I thought there was an ending. I thought just the idea alone. Like if there was any police doing any shit to Jeffrey Epstein. That's the line.
Oh, it goes back to the original guy. It goes back to Epstein. That's it.
Oh shit, that was the punchline. Yeah, that was it. I'd like to help you. Do you have a pen? Okay, a guy that would wait, Kermit the Frog. I'm Bill Gates. A guy that would probably know more about this. His name is Jeffrey Epstein. That was the joke.
Yes.
But he's dead.
Yeah, well, that's the joke.
Do you think he's dead? You're keeping an open mind. Today I want to talk about open-mindedness and tolerance and really opening your mind. And that's why I want to open our minds to the possibility he may not be dead.
The truth is,
I think he's dead. He's
but
dead.
we don't know. And it's silly unless anyone
Well,
is there.
How about one more cigarette for the people?
We just don't know.
This has been a good video.
Yeah.
I didn't think I had it in me today.
Very up tempo.
Very up tempo, but is it loud? I saw this guy yesterday. I saw this the black guy I was talking about last night, Young Pharaoh. His name was. I loved how he kept saying motherfucker, because I say motherfucker a lot too. And I just love it. Look at this man. Who is this motherfucker? This motherfucker. I don't know what it is, but I tend to lean towards trusting people who speak like that a bit more than at the Gavi Foundation for the Vaccine Alliance. And then you start to realize how much we've been used. Don't you feel used in some way?
No, because I never really believed any of the things they told me. If I'd invested a lot in the...
You washed your hands just like I did.
Only because you wanted me to.
That's not true now. We both were like, let's err on the side of caution and wash our
I had a
hands.
song.
You had what?
I had a song to go with it.
What was your song? Would you like to sing it for the people? You have to sing it loudly because you're at a distance.
Wash our hands in case it's true, in case it's true, in case it's true.
Wash your hands in case it's true.
No one really knows.
Wash your hands in case it's true, in case it's true, in case it's true. Wash your hands in case it's true. No one really knows. I've made some changes on here. When I started off, I was, we were erring on the side of we don't know what this is. And I think as things have kind of come in, it's like, I don't know what it was, but there are enough creepy things for me to say I don't believe it's what they have been telling us. It's a lot of voodoo statistics and weird shit.
We don't know, and I think that's hard for the brain brain to take in, because then the brain is in chaos. So
Yeah.
people either believe everything that we're told, or they go the opposite direction, which is actually the same direction, and say, no, it's definitely this, it's definitely, and they act like they haven't got any evidence.
I mean, I don't know. Is it a crime to? I don't know what's a crime anymore. Is it a crime to talk about? My thing with the George Floyd thing is, if it hasn't been established that there was a racial motive, or if this was just a cop with it was a case of it was a case of police brutality. Was it a case of a cop who just thought he was a big bad cop, and that the person he's arresting doesn't need respect or dignity or proper physical care? Was it an issue of that? Was it they worked? I don't know. It may very well be that he was a racist, but if it hasn't been established, does that mean that the whole world should go up in flames under that premise? And that's the problem I have. And the getting rid of statues, it's just, it is like you say, it's like all we've got now is the present. And when you try to explain to some people why the present cannot be all we have, for various reasons, there are people out there who are simply just not interested in great literature. I understand that, because it's all old words and weird. But there are also people out there who are not interested in nature. They're not interested in going, wow, I never knew a bird. You know, I was walking along the Leas the other day, and I heard the wildest bird song. And I couldn't see where it was coming from, but I heard I think it's a she, because I had this image of a mother or a female school teacher bird with a chalkboard, kind of teaching the alphabet. Because I heard do 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 do, and then I would hear like a little high pitch going, and then it would keep on kind of on a flat line with slight variations, do 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 do, and it went on forever. And I thought, because I heard little chicklets, I thought she's teaching him or her or them the basic language they'll need out in the real world, informing them. And I thought, my God, how beautiful, how beautiful. And you think they want to kill off nature, like the climate freaks. They want to kill off nature. They want to raise trees down because they're saying trees are bad for the environment. They're not about nature. This shit out there with his luxury flats isn't about nature. Toby Young wanting, select embryos for the, that is definitely not about nature. 5G is not about nature. I guess replace the word God with nature. There's a perfection in that. That if you want to call it God or just nature, whatever, there is a perfection in that. That, the irony is that we are already partaking in, because of our, as William Blake says, and Milton before him, the human form divine. We are the human form. We are human. We are humans in this natural world, or a dying natural world. And when you got leaders like that, who 5G, we have to rush through 5G. We have to get 5G. We have to compete with 5G. You are consigning future generations. All this bullshit that they've talked for years about climate and our children and the children's children, all that bullshit. It doesn't mean a fucking thing. If you're going to put 5G in the classrooms, it doesn't mean anything. You're going to make these kids stupid. And it will be, people think you and I are mad enough now. Wait till they become computerized and we start to say, once upon a time, you are a human soul. You are a human soul. Once upon a time, it wasn't like this. Like, okay, this does not compute. Take a chill pill, robot. Joe Rogan had Elon Musk on his thing, and he smoked pot with him. But did he press him on anything? I don't know. I didn't see the episode. I watched about 5 minutes of the Andrew Doyle one just to see if Andrew Doyle would say anything about his don't ban child pornography buddy Claire Fox. Of course, he's not going to do that. That's his. What's the term? Bread and bacon, bread and butter. I wish I could take questions from people. Closing 6 minutes, anything. I'm giving it an hour and a half, feature-length film. It was entertaining, I think.
Let's ask you some questions.
You want to ask me some questions?
What's your favourite colour?
My favorite color is cinnamon verite.
What's your favourite animal?
My favorite animal is Pepe. Oh, that's the frog. Ooh, that came out. That's not one of those people. That's a frog they use, right? Those weird people. So all this. You told me everything. You told me what incels were and MGTOWs and all these weird words. Karen. I learned what Karen meant. That means somebody who's a do-gooder.
No. It's a white middle-aged woman of a certain. It's the kind of woman that always kicks off in the store apparently and makes life difficult for. And Spike did a piece about how it's.
Yeah, that's the most.
It's ageist, sexist, and what was the other word?
What?
Colorist.
Colorist.
Oh, racist.
That's Spike. The Spike's game. So we're back to the boxing ring. Spike goes in their corner. Black Lives Matter goes in their corner.
It's just a joke. It's like if someone said Conchita if a comedian was joking about it.
All right. So my favorite animal is Lupe.
Who's that?
Lupe is. He identifies as a salamander. Oh, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this little joke. With Daniel Radcliffe the other day. Daniel Radcliffe of Harry Potter got upset at J.K. Rowling about some trans thing, and the Harry Potter guy, Daniel Radcliffe, says, "Trans women are women. To question otherwise is to question their identity and their dignity." So I wrote. Do you know what I wrote? You know what I wrote, but they don't know what I wrote. Here's what I wrote. I wrote, J.K. Rowling said that Daniel Radcliffe is Harry Potter, and to say otherwise is to question his identity and his dignity. It's funny, wasn't it? If you say you're Harry Potter, if you say you're Harry Potter, you're Harry Potter. Other questions? And these remaining 4 minutes. Again, that's patreon.com/Will Franken.
If you had to have no left hand.
Yes.
Or no right foot, which would you choose?
Oh, God, that's a tough one. I think I would lose my left hand and learn how to write with my right hand.
What if you could lose both your hands but be given 2 extra feet?
What does this have to do with left and right?
Oh, you are talking about left and right.
You lose both
But a literal left and right.
You lose both hands but you get 2 extra feet.
I don't want 2 extra feet.
You lose both your hands but you get 2 extra feet and a pipe in your head that detects water.
Do you know what this sounds like? This sounds like 5G questions. These are those questions they'll ask in the new 5G world. Would you like to have a whale for a stomach and eyes that spit rubies?
Right,
yes, I would. That's so great. I would love to have. Yes. And meanwhile, the birds are going around the goggle kid, and all the gnats are going, hello. Giraffes could be walking by. All sorts of beautiful animals, and they go, yeah. Ooh. The birds would be pecking. Hello. I didn't need a computer to do this. Yeah, man, bug off nature. Come on. They should be rounded up, all these techno people, and put like an Alcatraz or something. Just, or just put them in regular jobs, and then we're okay. Just, we didn't need you.
As each new invention's come along, we didn't stop and think, what's the payoff?
No, we never do.
Because some of the things would have been good.
I hope your voice is picking up.
Doesn't matter.
We only got 3 minutes. Do you have any other weird questions? If you were on a desert island and you could only take along one rationalist philosopher, one pancake, so it's going to be a pancake, so you don't have a choice about that. One pancake and one finger. I would take my thumb and Baruch Spinoza.
That's not a finger.
No, it's not. I like Baruch Spinoza. People put him down. It's a bit, he's one universal substance from which individual particulars emerge. Is a interesting way to see the universe. My God, we've had a crazy journey here. Is there anything you'd like to plug? Would you like to plug anything?
No.
You do have something to plug, but you don't like to plug it. You're rightly afraid of internet feedback. So I think it's a very sane place to be.
No, I'm just not interested in it. I know what I'm doing. I know what I think at any given moment. I don't need any interaction.
Well,
I'm what you call self-contained.
I would say that's true. Yes, I'm going to watch some Tom and Jerry cartoons later. Possibly. You don't like Tom and Jerry?
Never liked
I like he hits him on the head with the shovel and it maintains the shape.
They're both involved in a codependent relationship. relationship? Why doesn't the mouse just go somewhere else?
I don't know, but we'll have to save that topic for the next edition of the Clarity Podcast. Do you like the Clarity Podcast? And we're going to talk about violence in Tom and Jerry. This should be a very interesting discussion. We've got James Moykins from the Institute, the first institute to produce institutes. It's a self-replicating institute made possible by the funding from the Coffee Foundation on the Bill and Melinda Clinton Gates Nexus. I hope you've enjoyed this 15 seconds big into time of linear time. I love linear and non-linear time both. If we can ride that fence, that's cosmic.
Yes.
That's for later. Good night.